welcome to the show, which we understand now goes out to Belgium, Holland and Scandinavia. So for all our new viewers who may not be entirely conversant in English, a very special Cuttlefish Ransack Wombat Beauty Forecast leg warmer. Anyway, in the news this week, the Princess of Wales opens her own slimming school to pioneer new dietary techniques. In the Midlands, there is criticism that the waiting list for Vauxhall Astras is reaching absurd proportions. And Education Secretary John Patton demonstrates what critics describe as an oversimplified approach to sex education. On Ian Hislop's team this week, an actress who recently appeared on stage in The Oblivion Boys Have a Night of Raw Sex with Fluffy Girlies. The fee was apparently £200, that's all she could afford. Maria McErlane. And with Paul Merton this week, a news presenter who's quoted as saying, television today is responsible for shortening people's concentration span, and, sorry, where was I? Anyway, please welcome Jon Snow. So with only 25 shopping minutes till the end of the programme, let's waste no time in assaulting round one for major news stories of the week to relive. Ian and Maria, any idea who this is?
That must be the media leaving Diana alone.
This is Smiling Branson.
Taking pictures of her again.
Jump bitch.
Is there a new type of aeroplane, like a jump jet?
She asked for the sick bag before they took off, I think.
That was her first public appearance since saying she wasn't going to make any more public appearances.
Yes, it's Princess Diana who announced the decision to retire from public life in one of the most personal and heartfelt statements her speechwriters have ever drafted. Despite performing no public duties, Diana will continue to be closely associated with charity. She'll still receive thousands of pounds of our money to buy dresses with. Prince Charles was too busy to comment, as he's said to be assisting television broadcaster Jonathan Dimbleby with an authorised biography. I should have thought he'd got enough to do without writing Jonathan Dimbleby's biography. Paul and John, name the day.
Yes, well, this is Sunday, I guess, and they're all dealing in fudge, political fudge, I think, which was what happened when the MPs got down to...
Master Baker's
yes,
there, look.
Yes, they make fudge, and basically the fudge was that the shops could open some of the day, but not all of it, but they could open and shut sometimes.
Well, you can have autocue when you do California.
They wind it faster.
Yes, it is the legalisation of Sunday trading, despite determined opposition from the campaign to keep Sunday special. Well, it is special. You can go shopping and not get a parking ticket now. It spells the end to the 1950 Shops Act, which prevents the sale of Bibles, but allows pornographic magazines to be sold, leading to the rather bizarre scenario of people smuggling out Bibles between the covers of Biggin's Monthly. One shop owner was ordered by a court recently to pay £4,500 for selling a 46p packet of tea on a Sunday.
Thank you. Auto cue you've got there.
Oh, God, no, I don't think I'll do that one again. The Bishop...
Go on, do that one.
No,
It's good, it's really good.
yes, no. Ian and Maria, watch this space.
This is Mr. Blobby's new video, I think, isn't it?
It's a solar panel, isn't it?
That's him after his second tab of E.
What is a tab of E?
You're so square, Ian. I think what it really is the astronauts mending the Hubble telescope.
Yes.
Apparently the problem was that the lenses were a bit faulty. And I think we can be proud that they're the one bit of British technology on the Hubble spacecraft.
It is a mission to repair the Hubble telescope with its long history of dilapidation. It's currently suffering from blurred vision and expands and contracts too quickly. I'm sure Elizabeth Taylor knows the feeling. The shuttle's crew had a grueling timetable. On Monday they changed bent panels. Tuesday they installed a camera. Wednesday they fitted various instruments. And on Thursday they replaced some fuses. Don't know why they needed 4 days. My mate Ron could do that in half a morning. Paul
You
and
haven't got a
John.
new mate called Ron. When was the last time you spoke to somebody called Ron?
When he was doing the wiring. Angus said, "Hello, Ron. Fancy a cup of tea, mate?"
Matey, actually.
And Ron said, "Yeah, sure, mister." He's a chirpy cockney, Ron.
Yes, it could be a sitcom, really, couldn't it? If it were amusing.
Nothing stopping it becoming a sitcom.
Ron Childs, his name is. Good builder, honest Ron. Paul and John.
Got a voiceover for a bloody builder.
Paul and John, what rustic capers are these?
These are the people who agreed to go into a chicken coop, didn't they, to experience what life was like as a battery hen, and so they were locked into this thing, and they'd get £10,000 if they stayed in there a week, and that's them coming out and not getting £10,000.
They survived 20 hours. The problem was the bare feet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Chicken aren't allowed to wear shoes.
It's not that they're not allowed, they just don't want to.
They have to...
Well, they're much happier in flip-flops.
What was the point of this again?
It was to demonstrate the appalling conditions that battery hens are in.
Right, but they can't come out at the end saying, "Sorry, we didn't have any socks."
Be a surprise if they did, though, wouldn't it? Just about to have a chicken on a Sunday. Here, what are you doing, mate? My back. Leave me giblets alone.
It is the 4 human hens who agreed to try life as battery chickens.
4 human hens? So I mustn't talk about everything that you say, otherwise I'm going to finish the programme. This is so much of it's rubbish.
It's the 4 human beings, is that right?
Yes, better than 4 human hens, really, isn't it?
It's the 4 human beings who agreed to try life as battery chickens in return for £10,000. All were barefoot and had to survive on a diet of brown rice and beans. You can't think of many less sensible things to give someone if they're going to be cooped up in a cage with 3 other people and beans, short of chicken vindaloo. The cage has a metal tray for the boiled rice and beans, fluorescent lights on 17 hours a day, and tapes playing a cacophony of human noise. So a bit like Stringfellows, but without the haute cuisine. Which farmyard antics bring us shooting to the end of this opening rubber, and the terrifyingly predictable situation is that both teams have failed to put a foot wrong, Ian and Maria, and Paul and John displaying a pert 4. Round 2 now is put to one side as we toy playfully with the notion of our caption competition. 2 intriguing images. Ian and Maria, this for you. Paul and John, here's yours. So without any more ado than is traditional at least, we prepare ourselves for the steaming morass that is our tabloid headline round. Paul, what lies behind the curious warning, slow dryer ahead?
This is the road safety campaigner who there's people speeding past his house doing 50 miles an hour, and to sort of stop them, he's holding up a hairdryer, which looks like a radar trap. And so people slow down.
It seems ridiculous, but it's absolutely true. Any idea where it was, or...?
Yeah, outside his house. And the hairdryer, more precisely, was in his left hand.
Yes, it is Howard
It was
Tyler.
on warm. It was a Christmas present from Ron, the builder.
Ron the Honest Builder.
Ron, the honest builder, yes.
That's 2 in one show.
How are you going to pay me for this?
Well, he's an honest man, he's bound to, isn't he?
It's Howard Tyler, his name is, of Ilkeston, who stood on a street corner, zapping speeding cars, not with a police ray gun, but with a hairdryer. The police didn't like it, particularly when tests showed the hairdryer to be slightly more accurate. Superintendent Rod Moore said, "If there's a problem, we will take action with real equipment." Like heated Carmen rollers and Tyler explained, "Once motorists saw me, they soon slowed down because I tucked the plug into my trousers. They thought the wire was part of the device. Either that or they thought, what the hell's this guy pointing a Braun Independent at me? And what's he using as a socket?" John, an urgent message for you.
This is an extraordinary story about a prison warder who was sent to escort a highly dangerous prisoner, and when he collected the man, he was given a sealed envelope which said on it not to be opened other than if the man escapes. Well, he decided to call it at a pub on the way and treated the man to a drink, whereupon he did escape. He then opened the letter, and the letter said, highly dangerous criminal has escaped many times before, shows every sign of doing so again.
Didn't that don't take him to the pub?
Or if he'd been a murderer, if there had been a letter marked to be opened only in the event of your death. Prison Governor Mr. Max Morrison has now launched an investigation to determine whether correct decisions were taken, such as whether it was a good idea to give him the keys of the mini metro and ask him to park the car. Anyway, Maria, a question of Catholic taste for you. Saintly path to a prophet.
Right, well, I think, being a good Catholic, this is actually the Pope, or the Vatican, seeing the success of Queenie when she opened her house. The Pope wants to now open his house to the public, and, you know, have it as a sort of Pope shop. And
Is that what he's going to call it?
yes, where you...
Souvenirs on offer.
That's right, where you can buy...
Pope on a rope for the shark.
Musical Marys.
Yes.
That's what I used to call my front bottom when I was little. not the musical bit.
And on your bid, you call it a front bottom. Well, there's progress for you.
I'm a Catholic, what can I tell you?
I was going to say, this musical, you
Why?
should have got an opportunity not. Hits from the shows.
A Vatican spokesman warned that in the years to come, some of the Catholic clergy will almost certainly be strapped for cash. The Bishop of Galway was first to volunteer. Finally, Ian, a return of an old friend for you, Maggie on the rack.
Yes, this is Mrs. Thatcher supposedly being grilled at the Scott inquiry, where she gave evidence almost all day. And Mrs. Thatcher had a brilliant explanation for why she'd actually sold arms to Iraq, was that she didn't know. And her excuse was that various ministers were responsible for their own departments, which were being used to a lot of them. After 13 years of getting kicked in the head. And that she couldn't possibly have read all these memos. And again, she spent the whole of her time telling us that she was superhuman, and she read memos all night. So I think she was probably lying. Can I say that?
I think you just have. Yes, it is Mrs. Thatcher's appearance at the Scott inquiry into the Supergun affair, where she claimed to know nothing about the matter. She told the court, "If I was told, I have no recollection." This is the Prime Minister who wanted to take personal charge of the Ripper investigation and who went to the Falklands herself, but she forgot about sending a gun the size of a house to our biggest enemy. Which martial artistry brings us storming to the end of round two, and the uplifting news is that neither team seemed brave enough to force the pace, both Ian and Maria and Paul and John sticking to a steady 8. And so we pull back the tent flaps to release the fetid aroma of our odd one out round. Paul, here are your political heavyweights. Albanian dictator Enver Hoxha, Flipper, Petra, and a snowflake.
Only one of them's ever worked for Brook Street Bureau.
Being
Petra with a typewriter.
No, that's not actually true. Petra's the only one who writes Geoffrey Archer's novels.
Well, this is probably... Now, it's Petra the dog, BBC dog, famously died after about a week of being on the programme, and he got a substitute puppy in, and didn't tell anybody for years that it wasn't the real one, because the real one had looked really stupid, rotting away under the Christmas tree. Well, I see Petra's asleep again this week, come on! Flipper the dolphin, there were several Flippers, because some were good at dialogue, some were good at swimming, so they couldn't get one that did everything. Who's this geezer?
Enver Hoxha.
Hoxha. Well, yeah, Albanian dictator. He employed...
in a hat.
Yeah, he employed lookalikes to go around and frighten people and stuff, and so they never knew who was who and stuff, and he'd have a bloke who looked just like him, and he'd say, look, go down the off licence, get us half a dozen from Guinness, because we've got an arrangement with a bloke down there, but I can't be bothered to go out myself. And so the bloke would come back, and that's how it happened. So the odd one out's a snowflake, because that's an individual, and it's got no other imposters or people that are impersonated at any point in time.
is the right out?
You're right. Well, I thought if I kept going, I'd get there in the end.
Yeah. That's all we've time for this week. The odd one out is the snowflake, because all the others have been replaced by exact doubles, whereas snowflakes are like fingerprints. No two are ever the same, unless you work for the West Midlands Police, in which case they can be made to look identical. Blue Peter always kept it secret, but there were in fact 2 Petras, 3 Shets, and even less well-known 7 Peter Purvises. John, for people of the moment, for you, Helen of Troy, Caligula,
Topical news, Chris.
Mrs. Lloyd Webber, and John Major.
This is very perplexing. I can't say that classical history is my strong card. The easier thing would be to say that she's the only one without any arms, but that might be a little obvious. I think it's about horses, to be honest, because I don't think John Major rides a horse. And I think Helen of Troy may have had something to do with Trojan horses. Caligula, I think, ennobled his horse.
Did what to it? Ennobled? Really?
I think it's actually Caligula, because all the others have had horses given to them, whereas he gave one to a horse, didn't he?
You're right. Kazakhstan gave John Major a horse.
Yeah, it is about horses, but no one's actually got the right
It's down to horses.
one
Well,
out.
the odd one out then is Helen of Troy.
She's the only one out because she's the only one who's been inside a horse.
I beg your pardon.
Well, I take your word for it. I think I will give you a couple of points. It's Helen of Troy, as all the others were given real horses, whereas the Trojan horse was famously wooden. John Major was given a valuable Akal Teke stallion by the president of Turkmenistan. Expert Sue Waldop said the breed is very lively and doesn't suffer fools. Well, this one I have to change it ways, won't it? Maria, in descending order. Richard Branson, the Queen, God, and Mr. Arvind Patel, the Granthorne newsagent.
God?
He's the one on the left.
That's not how he showed himself to me, actually, when I was touched by him, I have to say. I think,
Well, Mr. Patel is presumably not open on Sundays.
Oh, I
And
know.
therefore he has to be disguised, because there's a hell of a lot of Sunday trading maniacs out there.
Is Mr. Patel the only one who's had half his face eaten off by a puma? God is the odd one out.
Why?
Because he is. Because he's the only one who's in every one of those squares because he's omnipotent.
Omnipresent is the word you're looking for,
Yeah.
Paul. I hate to be pedantic.
No, I think boring's the word you're looking for. Wrong!
Is the obvious word.
Yes, I think wrong is the word you're looking for, because it's
Never
not
mind.
actually true. I'll give one to you both, because it's that all of them... Nice to hear that one again. It's that all of them have traded illegally on a Sunday, with the exception of God, whose day of rest it is. Because he doesn't trade on a Sunday. His day of rest. Even though it's the busiest day of the week. Even though it's the busiest day of the week for those who work for him. Apparently he got the idea from the owner of B&Q. The Queen was cautioned for selling unmarked mugs in her royal souvenir shop. They weren't allowed to be there because they have no obvious connection with the palace. And neither does Princess Diana, and that doesn't stop her turning up. And finally in this round, Ian. Emma Freud, Spiral Tribe, Norman Lamont, and the Sultan of Brunei.
Well, obviously I know who Spiral Tribe are.
Naturally.
They are, Maria...
They're a band, I think.
Good.
They're a pop band, Ian, to you.
What are they famous for?
I think they're
Being a
sort
pop
of
band, yeah.
travellers or something. I think they squat, or they're New Age travellers or something like that. And this is my theory. And that Sultan of Brunei...
you stick to it.
Sultan of Brunei had people squatting in his house. Norman Lamont had a massage woman who...
Miss Whiplash, no less.
Yes, who's, you know, she squatted because he asked her to go. And Emma Freud is quite squat because she's small. Sorry, Emma.
Is it the Sultan of Brunei on the right, because he's the only one who's been in Thunderbirds?
No.
No, I didn't think it was for a moment.
You're on the right line.
Is it they've all had people squatting in their houses, except Spiral
Tribe
Tribe, who do the squatting?
is absolutely right for 2 points. Very good.
Lamont had to employ a well-known libel lawyer, a man called Peter Carter-Ruck, a great personal friend of mine, whose name rather entertainingly rhymes with luck, of course. So lucky old Norman. And the Treasury had to pay out huge amounts of our money to get Norman to evict Miss Whiplash, which was a great scandal at the time. You may remember it. It was just after he was in the off licence.
Another great scandal.
I enjoyed that one. That's before he did the Badger impressions. For our regular viewers.
So that was a quick plug for your lawyer then, was it? What I noticed?
No, not our lawyer, Angus. I'll take it very slowly.
Oh, right.
He's London's top libel lawyer.
That you just happen to know very well.
Yes.
I heard he was a great big ponce.
The BBC lawyer will now have brown trousers. There is no doubt about it.
He will have his...
Oh, so I was thinking about another Carter-Ruck that I know. Ron Carter-Ruck, honest builder.
What was he in Thunderbirds?
Well, he's obviously Thunderbird 1, isn't he? Look, I mean, he's Scott, isn't he? Was Scott Thunderbird 1? He was, wasn't he?
I don't have the answer to that here.
I always felt sorry for him because he had to go on that sort of movable sofa and lie down like that.
Yeah.
What I can't understand either is why did Thunderbird 5 circle the Earth picking up sort of signals when all they had to do was like put an advert in a local paper, if you're in trouble, phone this number. And you don't need a great big spaceship picking up every radio signal in the world.
Tell that to NASA. We could save a lot of money on the Hubble, couldn't we?
Yeah, it is madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was a spiral dance. Madness for someone else, wasn't it?
Spiral
A young
Drive.
person's reference.
Yeah. Just a shame you got the name of the band wrong, but...
Spinal Tap, isn't it?
Close. Which pointless occupation brings us careering to the end of outing the odd one, and the state of the parties is that Ian and Maria are busy losing their deposit with 12, while Paul and John are beginning to form a majority with 13. So it is that we move inexorably towards our final missing words round, 2 selections of blank verse. What is it that's being concealed? As usual, a guest publication accounts for an undisclosed number of them. This week we proudly present Poultry World. Ian and Maria being somewhat second. You get to go first, and you begin with. America admits to 252 what?
Chickens.
Cases of salmonella.
Missiles pointing at Russia.
Closer.
Missiles now pointing into the sea. Because they're not pointing at
Rogue
Russia anymore.
nukes.
Rogue nukes.
What is a rogue nuke, exactly?
Type of chicken.
Yeah. Red Island rogue nuke.
Well, in that case you can't have it because it's secret nuclear test. Next, support for what on TV?
Testicles.
Right, possibly correct, but not the answer I got in front of
Ask
me.
Martin Lewis. John told us earlier. He had his trousers specially made, didn't he?
No, it's the jacket.
Oh, it's
But
a
then,
jacket.
but then there's no accounting for anybody's construction.
No. Very carefully worded, John, well done.
Support for programmes.
Certainly not.
Support for Angus Deaton on TV.
Certainly
Not a lot of that
No,
about.
no, very little of that. Support for eggs on TV is the answer. Need for TV promotion of egg products from Poultry Weekly. Next, the Queen Mother says what?
Green Shield stamps. Saves world. She's working for Thunderbirds nowadays.
Is it husband's ears in a jam jar? She puts them either side of a photograph of him.
Not as far as I'm aware. The answer is a champion. Next, you decide. Major tells who?
Executioner.
You decide Major tells Germans, it usually is.
But not in this case, in fact, a different
Tell
country.
chickens, they're going to make the major decisions now.
No.
Cockerels, bantams.
Ulster is the answer we're after. Here's your family assortment, Paul and John. Sex lessons should stress what, says Patton?
Moral responsibility.
Chickens, come on, it's chickens.
High moral values.
Anal penetration.
I think John was...
Didn't you use the word back bottom, really?
high moral values was absolutely right. Well done. Next, My Days as Closet Heterosexual by who?
Queen Mum.
Jason Donovan.
No, obviously not.
Well, What are you just talking about now?
Prince Edward.
What, as a heterosexual in a closet?
Yeah.
Which he might be.
Yeah.
In the morning, choosing his suit.
Yeah.
I'm a heterosexual in a closet, that's
Yeah.
fair enough.
That's reasonable.
Nothing libelous there.
No, quite right, Paul.
And it's not the right answer.
Is it
either.
Cliff Mitchellmore?
It's not. It's not
It's
actually
Elton
Cliff.
John.
It's not Elton this time either. No.
Boy George.
Boy George, yes.
No, you could just go through every pop star you know until you get
Lloyd
it.
George.
Lloyd Banks.
When was he a pop star? I think you may be shooting off on the wrong tack here.
George Michael.
Is the wrong answer. David Bowie is the right answer. Next, judges may be put in what?
Boiling oil.
Nappies. Coma.
Stocks.
Bridlington.
Prison, jail.
Oh, judges may be put in the picture. That'd be new.
Certainly not. Stocks is the nearest because it rhymes with it.
Shocks.
No.
Hocks. Socks. Docks.
Doc.
We're back to
Doc
chicken.
Doc is the right answer. Well done. It's getting rather drastic, isn't it, when you have to give them rhyming up. And finally, know what an island
Man.
Smith.
It's what it's.
No man is an island. It's a quote from John Donne. No man is an island. John Donne, metaphysical poet. Shut up, Merton. Man and island.
You are 8 points down at the moment, so it doesn't really matter
It's
anyway.
a famous quote in which John Donne said, "No man is an island, but Cyril Smith comes close."
Is it Norwich? Is it Orwich?
Norwich an island. No, sadly not.
No chicken is an island. Poultry news changing the quote a bit.
I've never been impressed by this statement, no man is an island. I mean, it's like saying, I don't know, no teapot is a lake. No reservoir is a tide.
No, comma, Ireland is an island, or Britain is an island?
No, none of these things. Chicken was closest because no Eggman is an island. In fact, the answer, a warning by Mrs. Anne Smith to the Free Range Egg Producers Association regarding Eggman. So, which desperate attempts to impress bring us screaming to the end of this concluding rout, and the final toss-up reveals that this week's turbulent priests are Ian and Maria with 13, and this week's gay vicars are Paul and John with 21. So chicken nuggets to our winners, chicken pox to our losers. But before that, this, our late caption competition. Ian and Maria, what do you think of for this?
Medical breakthrough for flatheads.
Ron the Builder goes potty.
Health cups bite at ear, nose and throat department.
Very good indeed.
Latest British satellite.
Reached the height of 5'10".
Paul and John, this was yours.
Despite chemotherapy, the Nolan sisters sing on. It's a new musical, 5 guys named Baldy.
Gale force winds devastate wig parade.
Jackson family stick by Michael.
Thank you, on which risible note we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Maria McErlane, Paul Merton and John Snow, and I leave you with news that at China's National Portrait Gallery, the competition for best painting is declared a draw. In Fulham, local dustmen complain about George Best's weekly refuse collection. And in the Wilmslow area, house burglaries have mysteriously dropped by 97%. Good night.